this is interesting because we had a Carnegie Library in Stillwater, Minnesota. And so the available to children was the downstairs, the basement of the library. And because I think we could only go there on Saturdays, which doesn't make sense. But I think that's what we did. Oh, let me say, I'm talking about, I was born in 1932, so I couldn't have been about 8 when I started using the library. And it was the Carnegie Library. We lost track of all that the WPA money that went into building libraries.
I didn't know that.
And, you know, we're talking about the terrible depression. I don't, if you're about my age anyway.
Yes, that's close.
So what are your first reflections of the library?
I remember, because I grew up in Tucson, and it was hot in the summer, and there was a library van that would come to a church close by my house, and I would walk, and it would be hot, and I'd walk and go over there and get out books and come home and read them all day. And they were only there like 3 days a week, but I remember that.
So it was a mobile.
Yeah.
That was pretty sophisticated for the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I thought so, but the big library was way downtown, so that was my access to books.
Well, that was significant.
Yeah. How important was reading to you growing up?
I'm not sure. I have some books from that time. And so my maiden name is in there. So the family knows for sure that it's still me.
Yeah.
She talks to the cat talks back to her.
Well, okay, you have, are there favorite childhood books?
Child's Garden of Verses. One of those was still with me after all these years.
Oh, wonderful. And you told me you grew up in Minnesota. What awareness of the community did you have growing up?
Growing up? Well, the town that I grew up, Stillwater, Minnesota. Okay. There was a terrible Indian war that had occurred right after 1850. Minnesota became a state in 1850. So did California. And here comes my husband.
You want to talk to him?
No.
Stop it.
I've been trying not to talk.
I know.
You got one at home all the time too. My husband has been retired now from Capalindo High School and the Alphonsus High School District for like a long time. 10 or 12 or 20, I don't know. So we're education people for a long time. I've been on school board for about 10 years, and I haven't been on the school board now. We got a new superintendent.
I read that in the paper today. Fred Brill.
Say that again?
Fred Brill is the new superintendent.
I'm not on the school board anymore, so I didn't.
I know, he used to work for, I think he was the principal at San. So about 8 years ago.
So okay, now
We'll go back.
Okay.
Sorry. Community, growing up, we started out with your awareness of the community. You said that in 1850 it became a state. And so you were aware of this.
You see, and then here in California, we became a state in 1850
Right,
also.
right.
And most of it happened down here in Santa Cruz. Oh, there we go.
I'm Richard.
Hi. Nice to see you.
She went to school with our son Carl.
Education. What is your education background?
I graduated from high school, went to several universities. I don't ever talk that way in front of her. Yeah, okay. I'm a math major, and the last education I had was at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis. And
did you work outside the home, outside being a housewife? Okay. So
I have not been gainfully employed since I've been married.
Okay.
We
We didn't do that.
Right.
We didn't do that.
Or you could become a secretary, or you could become a teacher or a nurse.
Those were the three.
So what?
And then as a math major, that we're not to get.
Oh no, but I had the best of all jobs because I was hired to teach mathematics at Rochester, Minnesota.
Oh.
Which was very significant because at that time there was a junior college in Rochester as well as, and so one of the people that I knew back then is still living in the Bay Area. In fact, a woman who probably you know lives in Burton Valley, and she was an algebra student all those many years ago.
Oh, God. Oh, God. And she moved here as you moved here.
That's right, isn't that something?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now this one is, as an adult, what were your early community experiences? Now, you've been involved in all kinds of things.
That's right.
So, talk about
Okay.
your early. When did you move here?
1959.
59.
How long have you been here?
73.
So your son went to Burton Valley.
He went, Burton Valley wasn't Burton Valley yet when we moved here. So it was married.
Oh, okay. Now I remember you saying that.
Community experience. I think you ran, I think there was.
I ran for city council in 1976.
Okay.
And it's still in one of these summers.
Right here. Okay.
And I've been at every Walkways Trails Commission, you know what.
Yeah.
And
I
I measured every sidewalk that doesn't exist here.
Yes.
Because there's something strange. You know. I say this and I really mean it. Lafayette is on the way to everywhere, going nowhere. Now, when I see the library downtown, I can't say that anymore, huh? And so part of that was, at the time, I really did get to know Glenn Seaborg and his wife. She's dead the last couple of years, so we're all has-beens.
No, that's why we're doing this for our history so much. Seminary history. But this is why we're here. Having this oral history. And see how we.
See, my real concern, though, is now that everybody has a computer, my husband says, who needs a library?
I haven't answered the head librarian. I told her that. So they're using it more and more. The library is busy all the time. Using computers.
No, but my husband, all these years of retirement, I don't think he ever leaves his fingers off the computer.
Oh.
Does your husband do that?
No.
Has he ever done that? Oh, sometimes I just tell him to leave home.
Well, if he's got one of those batteries, you can walk around the house and
there. Anyway,
Okay, what attracted you to Lafayette? Why did you move to Lafayette?
because it's cheap housing. You wouldn't believe it.
Oh, no way.
We bought for about $18,000.
Oh, my God.
Several houses.
Oh, my God.
Left one, and then we're on the hills over there. And then we decided to move downtown because our kids couldn't even ride a bike just on the hills.
Oh, oh,
But that was my life.
yeah, yeah.
Hawthorne Drive.
Okay.
Just, I can almost see the houses over that hill. Brizzoni owns all of that land now. But I have some four-letter words for them.
Okay. Defining the goals of a community as a place of mutual support, shared values, acceptance of difference. How do you see Lafayette meeting in this way? Mutual support, shared values, acceptance of difference.
Well, let me tell you, when my kids first started school, I became very active in the PTA.
Yes, that I remember.
And okay, and so when that happened, I had all kinds of new interests and new energies. And one of the things I was able to accomplish is the trail.
Oh.
At that time, a good friend lived on a street just over, and honest to God, she followed up, and finally the East Bay Regional Park took over and they maintain that trail now.
But prior to that?
It was just, everything was mud. So was the library. The last big thing, with the help of, not Gina, Televic, is redo the entry to the library. At one time, it was just nothing but mud. No, nothing. It wasn't paved. And so some nice things that happened while I was active is Marchand, Esther Marchand, the wife of the builder, gave us some money, and the county did the rest.
Ah.
County library.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
And it was unbelievable.
Now, is the location the same place on Moraga Road? That is the library you're talking about? Or
No.
is it a different?
Yeah, no, the one on the road.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Okay, and then there was a man superintendent at the time.
James Martin?
This was
Way back, yeah.
and he and his wife, she was very active, gave me the money so we could redo the entrance of the Lafayette Library.
Oh, my word.
And so now there's a canopy out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And some furniture out. We were able to handle all of that.
Oh.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
But some of the people that I've known here for so many years, my memory is so good about that, and I won't forget those people.
Yeah, yeah. Good working with them. So, and you had similar goals.
Well, when I became active in the PTA, honest to God, there was kids had to walk in mud.
Yeah.
Along the trail.
Okay. Yeah.
It was, and then of course I became very excited about it, and the next thing you know, we made sure that there was a walkway along the Moraga Road here.
Right. And then behind, that's very nice.
No, the city has taken over, and I'm so pleased to see the plants blooming.
Yeah,
Can you believe that?
yeah,
And there's still too many accidents on Moronga Road, way too many.
yeah.
So when East Baymont gets through, you don't have to go home that way. You go on St. Mary's, though.
I go on St. Mary's, but they're doing something today. Don't ask me what they're doing, but I think they're replacing telephone poles.
On the top of all this?
I saw a big truck going there with these long poles, and they had it on.
See, on the way to everywhere, going nowhere. Some of that is still there, huh?
Yeah.
But the biggest thing really was to get the trail going, and that happened in 1976.
Okay. It seems like we've been there for the longest time, but not since 76. Wow.
And that's a few years ago now.
Yeah. Okay, you told me your earliest memories of the Lafayette Library, about working on it. Was the Friends of the Library always, did that happen right away, the Friends of the Library, or?
The best recollection, the first county superintendent of the library was, have you done any of that work? Oh, man. No. We've had a number of librarians locally, and some of them have been very good, and some have been just terrible. And the most terrible one, she's probably still in the system. It could be, you know.
Yeah.
Well, old librarians don't tell you that
They just go on.
Yeah. Got a nice set. See, now I don't use the library very much. That's my real thing, because I am handicapped,
Yeah,
and
it's difficult to do that.
just to get in and out of the library.
Well, to get your car in and out of the library, it's not that easy.
What's going to happen there? The traffic problem is just going to move.
I don't, it's got all kinds of problems.
Ann Groden is still involved in the
Yes,
library.
very much so, yes,
That's very, very important.
yeah.
Have you done a talk with her?
I have not, no, but there are several people doing talks, and, we have a list of names. That's where I got your name. So we're going to be talking to people, but, we wanted some history of, like, Friends of the Library, because that is a community service, Friends of the Library, and so that's why the questions about the community, how you felt about the community, your early remembrances or work with the library. That's why we're doing this. Because it says, have you been involved in the library over the years? You have. So.
But I recently have not been, and I feel very guilty about that.
But your other experiences, you were one of the people, I think, that kept that whole thing going.
Well, I'll tell you who kept it going is my backyard here, Joe Merriman's house. That's for sale now, and it's sold. And they claim there are 3 lots over there.
Yeah.
And the best thing could happen is the house is torn down and they'd be put in 3 nice houses. Because there are 3 lots. And Joan and I, well, we had nothing to say to each other.
But you worked together. No?
No. And it was all petty politics.
I understand.
And now she's gone too.
Yeah.
But she's a good person.
Yeah. we're talking about on Copper Lane.
And Stanley School is
Yeah.
just that way from their
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. What other community events or projects or organizations have you been involved in?
Well, I became involved very early with the League of Women Voters, and most of the things, in fact, the write-up there was done by a woman who's still on the board now of the League of Women Voters in Diablo Valley. And their office is just out by your house, you know. It's at 500 St. Mary's Road.
Oh, I didn't know that. Over in the new community center?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, the crazy thing is, lots going on there now. The woman who heads up the senior citizens,
Yeah.
no, the senior program, is competing heavily with the League of Women Voters.
The state?
It sounds a little bit weird, but tomorrow there's a special meeting at the senior citizens office at 500 St. Mary's Road, and the woman who's in charge now, a Chinese woman, have you met her?
Uh-uh.
Well, she doesn't have time for very many people,
No.
but somebody has to knock on the door, see who's there. But I don't use the bus service.
No. Well,
Well, I mean, there are, I get served better than you. About parking, I have a parking.
good. Good. You were involved in the League of Women Voters.
AAUW people.
Oh, okay.
I had a good time with the AAUW
Yeah.
because they think they're so smart, and they are.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was, I joined the AAUW because my friend who belongs to AAUW, I said, I'll join the AAUW if you join the League of Women Voters.
Huh.
Well, she did. In fact, she was my campaign manager when I ran for city council.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's good.
So we all hold hands about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that hold hand thing is really important. Those talks that the librarian gave every month were catered, and everybody brought some nice little things to eat.
Yeah.
And some of those women I still am in touch with.
I didn't know that the librarian did a talk every.
Under the auspices of the Friends.
Oh. Oh.
And she was just no. These are your questions.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Just fell off.
Some more?
Put it on you. Got it? That's okay. That's okay.
So what do you do in your spare time?
This is about you. I'll tell you later. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. You don't remember the 1940 library because you weren't here. But you talked about the WVA when you were growing up, or the library that was
Things
62 library. The 1962 library. Is that different than the library that's on Malaga Road?
no.
That's the one they're talking about. And he talked about how it was surrounded by mud. And how was the money raised? He talked about.
Well, I tell you, the county picked up a lot of that.
Did they?
And the crazy thing is, something that we were all very proud of. We collected enough money to carpet the library.
Oh.
And so I had a campaign going that said, spend $10 and buy a yard of carpet.
Yeah.
And we got enough money, honest to God.
That's pretty good for
yeah.
the building that library at that time. That's always a lot more money than it is now.
So about that same time, though, then it was possible for people to volunteer to teach reading through the library.
Oh, no.
And so I was assigned a man who graduated from high school in Southern California, and he couldn't read and write. And the too bad part about that is I did it for a long, long time, and the state sent us materials, you know, and they wanted us to do that.
Yeah.
So
I think there still is a program to help through the library, but I think it's county.
Well,
Countywide.
it should be.
Yeah.
But now you have a new county librarian too.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
Well, the crazy thing is, she's very, very talented. I was forgetting of her name. Her husband works for the state of California now. California politics is just terrible. Now the governor said he's not going to sign any bill until they have a budget. I understand.
Why did they change the name from the Library Association to Friends of the Library?
I don't know anything about that.
Burning the mortgage? Anything about that? The new library. What do you think about the idea of a learning center consortium as well as a library?
They needed to do something like that to get state money.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
I don't know.
Because we were passed over for a long time for state money. Now Walnut Creek has got the money, but see, Lafayette was competing with Walnut Creek at the same time.
Because Brenda had done it.
But see, that they own their library.
Oh.
And there's something different about the financing of libraries.
Oh. We did, well, they raised so much money for this library, and the state did too.
And I try hard to keep up, but I don't think I do a great job.
I don't.
But I'm still active in the league.
Good.
And in case you want to know how to vote on the propositions,
Let me stop.
pros and cons on the ballot.
Yeah.
And people are invited to go and listen to these women talk about the meaning of the ballot and what are the propositions. And that's what you've got in your hand.
I think that's important. Now, where is that held? Or do they have this meeting?
Well, the crazy thing is, the nice thing, the county televises all the candidates forums, and they do televise the pros and cons. So you got to watch for the newspapers.
And then
It's
mentions it in the newspaper?
It'll tell you when.
No one knew that. Oh, good. That's it. Very good. Okay.
So we all need to know that much.
I agree. And I
Scary.
their recommendations. There's so many of them. Okay. What do you think the most exciting thing about the new Lafayette Library is? Is there anything that really piques your
Well,
interest?
I'm just hoping that in the new library there will be places for the historical society, and that stupid fire engine thing. I don't know. They're going to put that in the library.
I know.
Is that somebody's idea of a good time? I don't know.
Once you get it in, it's going to be, from what I understand, it's going to be in the middle. And if you decide to do that, you have to keep it simple.
You got too many questions.
I know, I got it. Okay, now let's see. The library's future. It was said on the internet, it was said that.
Uh-oh, this thing fell off again.
I just threw it around.
Get your finger.
Yeah. There. It was said the internet would kill the printed word, and I think it has not. And libraries will become obsolete. How will our new library avoid such a fate?
Make sure the library is used. Invite all the organizations. You see, years ago when I was doing the PTA thing, one of the nice things they let me do was I would try to do a community calendar. Well, now we see that all the time. But this was back, way back.
Yeah, yeah,
And so in the PTA newsletter,
yeah. You have a
what's going on in the community.
That's smart.
And so now we have a new newspaper.
Yes, Lafayette today.
And they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So you have to read that, then you get all the Board of Service thing, and but it's pretty hard to stay on top of it.
I think so. There's a lot going on. There's a lot.
But make sure you take advantage of the television
Yeah,
program
yeah.
and
Look for it.
and make a loud enough noise.
So that other people know.
How are we doing now?
I'm on the third page, unless there's anything. Oh, I know. There's one question. Who have you observed making a real impact on the library? Are there any particular personalities that stood out?
Well, Maeve Pessis.
Have you? What's her name?
Maeve Pessis. Her first name Maeve. And now Maeve is heading up the homeowners group. So where you live, I'm sure you have a homeowners group.
Burton Valley. It's
What street are you on?
I'm on Burnt Oak, which is
Oh,
Door and Burnt Oak.
Mhm.
But we might have it, but I've never even known anything about it. It's been there for,
Oh my, okay. Yeah, that's,
and I haven't heard anything from a community or Burton Valley. I think there's a St. Mary's.
Well, see, now that the city of Lafayette has this newsletter they send out, got to take advantage of that. Make sure if there's any discussion due on any of this stuff, and I don't know where that's going to happen. Let's hope that it happens in the meeting room in the library.
Right.
Let's just hope that that's the case.
That's a good idea. That's what you said. Good.
But I don't know how we have to figure out how to use the Comcast and all this stuff, the television. We need to know how to really use it. Now, I've taken classes, honest to God, and I am still computer illiterate. Isn't that terrible?
No.
I drove the teachers crazy. I'm not kidding you. I always have to go back and start on page 1.
Yep.
My husband tries. He can't. He hates me too.
Before I get into discussions with you. Okay.
We got a lot to say to each other.
I know. Okay, do you have any other thoughts about the library, about your work in the library, or about the community of Lafayette? Anything that you would want to
The city of Lafayette is now 40 years old. We went to a birthday party out at the city hall.
Yes.
And it was interesting because some of the early people who were on the city council came, and I couldn't believe what an exciting thing it was. So, to try to remember, that's why the Historical Society is so important, much more than the stupid fire engine.
What are we going to find? Community library.
Okay, we need to know more about groups of people that will get something out of the library. My husband says, no, he can do everything on the computer. Who needs it, you know?
He doesn't need to go.
I keep looking to see if there isn't a shortcut way to get to use the computer. Years ago, a young man came here to show us how to do all this, and he wrote for me a step-by-step how to get on the computer. Then we get a new computer, and so those old rules, they don't work
They don't work anymore. No, I know.
So the world is changing so fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do about it.
Do you think it's leaving out some people?
Pardon me?
Do you think it's leaving out some people? It's moving so fast that it's leaving out?
For the first time, the League of Women Voters has a pamphlet called How to Quickly, just the voter pamphlet that comes from the state. It's just no. And so now there's an attempt to do a new explanation, and so watch for it.
Okay.
See, now the league office is so close to where you live.
Yeah.
And they're in room 14 at 500 St. Mary's Road.
Yeah, I could stop by it.
And you wouldn't believe it's quick and easy, and the state of California is making some sense out of all of it.
Good.
It's called the Easy Reader, I think.
Good.
But right now, I just talked to a friend from the league, and she is going to work with the different high schools in this whole Bay Area to bring those materials into the classroom. See, we don't do anything like that.
No, that would be very good.
And so this person is making contact with all the superintendents everywhere. And some of the teachers don't even want to go to the extra. So it does start with the elected school board members and make sure they understand. And some of them belong to the League of Women Voters, and so everybody should join.
Yeah.
And so then one woman took the time to do that.
Yes.
No, that's Jory. That.
This is your.
Yeah.
Now, do you need to keep this?
No.
Because I can make a copy and send it back to you.
Okay. Why don't you do
I'll
that?
do that. I'll make a copy and send it back.
Thank you. Have you got a copy machine at home?
No, but I can go to the library and make a copy.
That's the same mentality that I have too.
Yeah. You use it well, don't you? Thank you. Thank you for your time and talking to me.
You're a fine person. You just got to stop at the league office and
All right.